purposes, and then you just pursue it. Because even sometimes, even seemingly good things, by the way, like going to church, if you're doing it for the sake of church, you know, but let me just go on. Yet you can use that time, and I want to be controversial. I'm just saying that sometimes you do things for the sake of tradition. It becomes a tradition that every Sunday I have to go to church. But you've been going to church from Sunday from Monday, you've been either going to a fellowship. So once you find your purpose, there's you learn how to manage your time well, because you'll know that no, this is not I can use this time for this because there's a target. There's a book I need to write this year. There's a blog I need to finish. Because if you don't set those limits, then you end up wasting time. Thank you, Jerry, for that. Any specific steps that you think you need to take, or anyone?
Thank you very much. I'm Linus. This acts as like an encouragement, because I was scared of getting together with other people for like a business or something else. For example, my siblings, we say that maybe we get a space, we build their shops. So I was like, people are not trustworthy. That if we come together, maybe there will be quarrels, by people taking away money. So now I can understand that maybe you can come together with other people and make something else. Yeah, thank you very much.
And that's a good thing. Maybe because
yes, just to follow up on her, I would follow up with a question that maybe you can share about how can I protect myself when I'm going into a collective investment. I think that's important, because it's what sets the distinction between being successful when you're pulling resources together with people or not being successful. So what steps can I take to safeguard myself, to safeguard my investment? What should I look for? What should I put in place before? Also, as a lawyer, I think you can advise on that.
Okay. All right. So just to answer that, and it's a good thing. Everything has risks in this life. Everything. And I'm one of the most risk-averse people. But, you know, with time you realize there's a song called Ironic. It's a secular song. I used to listen to it many years ago. The lyrics are very interesting. It's Ironic by Alanis Morissette. It's like this guy was feared to fly all his life. Then one day he decides to fly in a plane, and then the plane crashes. You know, so it's a very interesting song that you meet the man of your dreams, and then just before you meet them, you also know that they have a wife. So like, I thought this is the man of my dreams. Now he's married. Or you buy the most expensive champagne, and then the fly falls in it, you know. So there's always a risk. Everything has a risk. But like you said, there are ways to minimize these risks. What is riskier? For you to join a group of people whom you know, if this thing goes down, at least all of us are going down, and you have that brain power, you know, or you go at it at yourself alone. Because if you're going down alone. You know, you're going down alone. Aliko Dangote, the richest man in Africa, has built a refinery, an oil refinery, alone, single-handedly. Yeah? Single-handedly. If you read the story, he has spent about $15 billion to build the refinery. And it is something that has, you know, for the last 5 years, it has been his focus. But he knows that if he goes down, he'll go. In fact, in one interview, he said, this thing I'm willing to back with my life. So you can imagine he's willing to die for it. But it's a very risky venture. So the reason I highly encourage group savings is that at least you're spreading the risk. You're many. Sooner or later, someone may have an idea, or, you know, it's much better than doing it alone. So one of the things you can do, and I touched on it earlier, is that first of all, you don't just find people that you don't know, and then you pull resources with them. Obviously not. Remember the story of BMK? They put resources with family people, other families that they know that are friendly. They've known each other for many years. They meet to, when in the bad times, when there are burials, and good times when there are weddings or christening of children or what. So these are people that you know. So you don't just go and find people on the street and say, let's start something. Yeah? So these are people you know. So it's either a church group. You've heard of YSEV in Watoto. It has been around for over 20 years. It's one of the best run circles in the country. Some people are asking why they shouldn't become a bank, because they're big enough to be a bank. And other churches are copying them. So something like that is good. A work investment club or circle, because in instances like those, the company itself is providing backing. So in case of a problem, they won't let the circle go down, or they try and make sure that things are done well. Or a group like this one, Melchizedek. Do you guys have an investment club or circle? Yeah, because if you don't have it, then you're doing a disservice. These are guys that know each other. You've been together for many years. You know so it's the least that you can do. You can't just be meeting every day to just talk things, abstract things. You need to have practical things that you think you can do. Professional, like the Uganda Law Society has a circle, the Uganda Pharmaceutical, because things will be. So that way, at least that first of all, there are many people, they're clever people. Even when they're choosing leaders, they will choose leaders that they know are able to do the work. So that way and even then, when they call meetings in things like in clubs like those, please endeavor to come or to attend those meetings to find out what's going on. If there are documents to sign, make sure you read. You just be a deliberately serious person, so that you take care of your investment. But in that way, you're spreading the risk. And you will notice in those groups, if you have very good leaders, they always look out for opportunities for the club. They'll go and buy a piece of land, and there are people who have become rich by just being in those groups. I read a story, and it has been on WhatsApp, of some old Budonians who came together in about 10, 15 years ago. So they used to meet and just talk. Then I think, again, there's always one person who has an idea that instead of just meeting and talking, why don't we do something? Now they have commercial buildings. Because they began pulling resources, and they're just 20. They're just 20 guys. So that's what you could do. And just be mindful of the documents. We're talking about how to protect your interests. Just be mindful of the company documents, the club documents. Make sure you sign somewhere, so that you're not, if they say you're a member, ask the chairman, what shows I'm a member? It is it's a reasonable question to ask. You sit in a group and say, you're the members, what? You stand up and ask, what shows I'm a member? So because if the chairman is serious, they'll explain to you how you're a member. Either you signed a constitution, or you filled in a form, or they have your details, they have your next of kin. Recently, some club, the treasurer just disappeared. She's in the security, but she disappeared. And we struggled, because we didn't know where she lives. We struggled. She disappeared for a security something. It was client. She's in the security. So we struggled. So we had to make sure it was a lesson for us to make sure we know where she lives. We know who our the next of kin lives, because she holds a critical position of someone who controls our money. So things like those you can do. But are there specific steps that you guys are going to? No one has talked about net worth. Or you all knew your net worth. Because I'm telling you, before you know where you are, like we're saying, the thing about purpose, you need to first know how you're standing financially, what your net worth is. Because if you don't know what your net worth is, you can't set targets and say, for instance, I want to be a billionaire by 20-something, or I want to be this by this. I want to have a business that is worth this by this time. You can't, because this is the first step. Someone said what is measured tends to, what gets measured gets done. If you don't measure it, you won't do it. I found out recently, do you know that these days churches count people who come to church? Because when we grow up, You just go to church, and then when they ask you, how many people are in your church, you just use your eyes. We're like 400. But if you actually count it, you may find they're much less than 400. Maybe they're 200. So now serious churches count people that come, because you can't know if you're having impact. There's someone who stands at the back and actually counts. You won't know they're counting, but they'll count people that have come. Then others use systems like they have sales, and so the sale leaders will look for their people in the church, those that have come or those who have been online, because these days we have online. They will tell her, for me, I'm online. Like, are you sure? So they find out that they actually were online, they listen to the sermon, and then they fill in a report. They actually fill in a report that so-and-so attended. There were 2 people at their home. They watched online, or this one came to church. Then that report is sent, because that's how the church leadership knows that this many people are attending church, and this is the impact we are having. Because you can't leave it to chance. Because say you want to grow to you've just had at the boys' congregation 50,000. You won't have dreams, or you won't set targets if you don't know where you are. So if churches are doing that and other people are doing that, I think it is something that we all ought to do, to just know that every month I'll just go and look at that cash statement. I can share with you those tools. I will go and look and see where my net worth is, how I've moved, so that next year, because we're going into 2023, next year my target then is to move my assets from this amount to this amount, and then my liabilities, I want to reduce them, maybe kick this out. So that's what that exercise helps you to do. And then having done that, you begin thinking, because you know there's no way I will grow these assets if I don't have cash. If cash is not flowing in, we said cash flow is king, because you want to grow your assets. So you'll be thinking, how do I, then I need another source of income. I need to join this group. I need to save more, because if I don't save more, all those questions you won't think of if you don't know where you are currently. So I encourage you all to take time off every, monthly. Some people do it weekly. I know a guy who does it weekly. He has an Excel sheet. He says, this week I got this much money. This is where I'm training. This loan, this is how I've cleared it. Next month, they're deliberate about such things. Anyone else wants to say something about what stood out, or what lessons what specific steps they're going to take, or if you're going to share it with someone, or who you're going to be accountable to?
Thank you, Mister. Me, I'm having a question. The question is still on the expenditure and the income. If I find myself, when I'm having too much expenditure, bigger than the income, and sometimes it consumes my income, yet I have not yet started other sources of income, how do you think I can handle that? Thank you.
That's a brilliant question. And believe me, my brother, you're not alone. We are all in that boat. Isn't it? It is something you grapple. Remember when we said you list them down? If you're honest, you will see that on the income there's 1 or 2 lines. But if you go the other side, rent, school fees, children, food, clothes, wedding meetings, So the answer is easy, but also hard. It is as easy as limiting the expenditure. For you to actually be at 0, you just say, okay, let me be at 0. You just limit it, but it's not as easy as it sounds. But it is something that you need to do. You just, I told you my example. I like good things. I've told you a friend of mine has a German car, very nice car. He told me, I want to give you this car. But I know in my heart of hearts, if I take the car, that means I have to get a loan. I have to get a loan. Then I struggle with that for many, and yet it's something I'm trying to get out of. We want to use this year and next year and a bit of last year to get out of debts as a family. get out of debt. So as much as my car doesn't look good now, I know that it's something, I'll be lying to myself if I take on another liability, because that means I'll be paying this guy some money every month, or, you know, depending on the arrangement that we agree on. So that's why I'm saying it is easy but also difficult. The easy part is to just let go of the peer pressure. You don't mind what people can say, whatever they say. Dave Ramsey says, until people think that you're crazy, your family members. You know Dave Ramsey? Some financial expert. he's on YouTube. People need to think, what happened to this man? Look at the car he's driving. Until you hear such comments, then you're not doing anything. Oh, why are you dressed like that? From your friends. Because you have a target. You know that, no, this guy doesn't know what I'm going through. Because except if you're going to steal. But if you're an honest person who wants to make an honest living, you know, you have to make sure that your expenditure, your income at least outweighs. So if you cannot grow the income streams, that's what we said. And it's not easy to grow the incomes. That is actually much harder. Because what are you going to do? It's not that you're going to start a business all the time, you know. So in most cases, people's income stream is their salary. If they're not employed, then there is they have a business, so they get some money out of the business. And remember, the business money also has restrictions. You can't just be getting money out of the business if you're a good business person. So there are restrictions also in how much you can get from the business. So there will be other things you can get, like we're saying, try and save. So because when you save, the circle may give you some money at the end of the year that we are paying a dividend to our members, or the investment club, there's this product we have for our members, we are giving you a dividend, or we are giving you something, a bonus. So that's like now extra income. Or there are some things that you can do, partner with people to do something that can bring in money. So except if you're able to do that, there are no two ways about it. You have to limit your expenditure. You have to cut some things. If you're eating out all the time, or you eat meat the meat is even not very expensive. You just need to manage your because otherwise you'll be in trouble. You're going to be in trouble. The alternative is much harder, is to grow your income streams. Yes. Anyone else? Yes, please.
Where Raymond, doing something which you are passionate at, I've learned is a good thing, because for me, I used to waste my time doing things that I'm not passionate at. Like I did sciences only just because my friends wanted me to do sciences, and I was passionate at music. So this has really taught me that I should put my main emphasis on music, and pull resources with my fellow friends, and I see how I can make it. Yes.
Yeah, that's a good thing. You know, I also like music. At some point I thought I would be a musician. It's my father who discouraged me. He said, Timothy, togenda kubeera Michael Jackson. Yeah, music also maybe, but in my heart of hearts, I still believe maybe that's what God wanted me to do, because I love music a lot. And when I was young, I it's something that I really followed. I studied actually music at A level at Makerere College, so it is something I was passionate about. But then over the years, I also realized I'm passionate about business. So I encourage you, my brother, to follow your heart. There's a reason why you don't love football, or basketball or what, but you love music. Most of the things, you can't explain it. It is God who has put it there. It is God who has put it there. There's a man called Lawrence Mulindwa. You know him? The owner of St. Mary's, sorry. That man, I admire that man. The reason I admire that man is that he has a passion for sports. That man single-handedly put up a stadium. Do you know how much it costs to put up a stadium? A world-class stadium. If anyone has been to St. Mary's Stadium? It's a world-class. You know, there was a time actually he bailed us out as Uganda, because during COVID, Ntale was being used for some, I think, treatment or something as a hospital. And so Uganda had to pay CAF, Confederation of something. But because Lawrence is the only one who had a stadium that can match the standard, so we played in his stadium, as Uganda. And yet he built it single-handedly without government support. Even the things that he imported, you may find he paid a lot of taxes. But that is a man who has passion for sports. It is something that you can just tell. He's passionate about it. Maybe it is his purpose. Yes. So that's why you see sometimes when you see people doing things, you wonder about this man. Is he crazy? Because the money that put up the stadium, he can put up 4 arcades in Kampala or somewhere. Easily, 4 arcades. But he put all that money in, and he tried to do a good job because it's a world-class stadium. By the time you have CAF matches being played there, it should tell you something. So just to encourage you, once you find your purpose, pursue it. One trick that you could do is to find people who have done what you think you want to do, and then you follow them. You find a musician. I hope it is gospel music that you're going to sing. Otherwise, you may be taking people to hell. Yeah, if it is gospel music, so you find a gospel musician that you can go under their wings, and they sort of mentor you. It is much easier than doing it on your own, because the mistakes that you're going to do now, they already made them, and so they'll tell you, no, you want to do an album, no, first do a single, do this. You want to do, because you don't want to make the mistakes that they made. So that's one thing I've also learned, that once you find out what your purpose is, try and, in most cases, there's someone who has done what you've done. Or who has done what you want to do, and then you just follow them. It is easy to follow than doing the path you're on. That's why we respect apostles. Apostles, in most cases, are people who are going where no one has ever gone. They are taking a risk. No one has been to this territory, but the man wants to take the territory for God. And so he goes and conquers it. God gives him territory is taken. No one will ever give it to you. You have to take it. So, and then people come. The pastors come. Remember Paul. They begin to plant churches, but the man went at it alone. But not everyone is cut out for that. So my encouragement would be to just find a mentor, or a coach, or someone who has done what you want to do. Then you begin following them. You follow them on YouTube. You follow them online. You seek out what they are, just find out. Try and get in their circles. I'm sure you'll learn something that will help you. Yes, please. Yes, please.
Thank you, Timothy. My name is Florence.
Yes, Florence.
And I feel so bad that I missed the part of multiple businesses, and that's where my biggest struggle is. Biggest, I should say. And that's why I took time to locate to this place. I'm really struggling, and
multiple businesses or multiple income streams?
Yes, like I'm doing this, and at the end of the day, you find you're struggling, things are not working out, and yet you put in so much. So when he spoke about investing, I think I need more. I'm just requesting for more light in that, because it's like it's too much.
So you're doing many things.
Many things. You're doing this. You're doing this. You have to be here. You have to be the other side. Like, you delegate, but at the end of the day, things are not.
What businesses do you do?
Now, before COVID, I had just opened a preschool. I'm a teacher myself. It's something that I loved so much. They closed. So, when they opened, schools were still closed. I wondered, what should I do? Like, a friend of mine convinced me to join importing, like men's garments. I was convinced, I went. I joined, so I'm still there. They opened schools.
So you came back to the school.
I went back. But all along I had a retail shop. It was there. And yet I still work the other side. So it's...
Yeah, I think you're a typical business person and actually entrepreneur. You're an entrepreneur.
But it's hectic at the end of the day.
And my advice would be to set up systems. It is not as easy as it sounds, but you need to, when you hear people who do many things, Mandela, who, of course, they didn't start where they are. They started by doing what perhaps you're doing now. But when you do them, when you hear what they're doing, how can a man be that spread? He has Cafe Javas, he has that, he has this. He sets up systems. So, although it's not as easy, like I said, as easy as it sounds, because you cannot be everywhere. Sooner or later, one of the businesses or all of them will suffer. So, and your question is a bit deep, because setting up systems is a whole different topic altogether. What to look out for. Do you want to automate, for instance, some roles in the business so that you don't even have to have a person there? In which case you need to have a very good IT or management system that helps you, you know. Do you want to get partners to spread the risk of going under? So, but long and short, I think that's where the issue is. You need to set up systems so that you're not everywhere. You're not everywhere in this. You just then, you know, you just know that even if I'm not there, the business is running. Something is going on. Of course, there are those, you may be more passionate, since you're a teacher, you might be more passionate about the school, which may require, you know, a lot more of your time than the other businesses. And you may not be able to scale because that may be where your greatest potential is. You know, because we've just seen, again, you missed that. You can't be a faithful steward if you're not multiplying. So you can't have one school for 5 years. At least that's what the Bible is telling us. Not exactly, but you can't have the same thing and then 5 years down the road, someone comes and says, oh, yeah, we have our school. I went to a school down here actually called St. Anne's many years ago. So the Bible's definition of a faithful servant, a faithful steward, is someone who has multiplied what they have at their level. Because the one of 2 made 2. The one of 5 made 5 more talents. So I think that's what you need to do, to just see how you can set up systems for your businesses so that you're not very spread. Otherwise, all of them will suffer. I don't know if I've tried to answer. So anyone who is going to share what they've learned something, and that this one I'm going to share with someone else. Or someone who is saying I need to be accountable to someone, or I need to find someone I'm accountable to. For instance, if I'm going to know my net worth and keenly track it, this is the person who is going to help me to track my net worth. Or if I'm going to grow my cash flow, my income streams to maybe have 3 instead of 1, this is the person whom I'm going to be accountable to. You need to be having that in mind so that you benefit from this whole forum, so that next year when we come back, we are hearing success stories that, by the way, when we left, I made a decision to get out of debt and to start a business, and this is the business. And then we see it here, or wherever we shall be, because that shows you that, you know, we're having an impact, we're making an impact.
I'm going to share the networking.
Yes, you're going to share that.
Yeah.
And whom are you going to be accountable to?
Because I have learned about networking. There's we call it a group of what? It's also talking about networking, or organization or what, because they have organization. You have to put there your money, and after putting your money, then you have to get other people who can follow you. But then those people, then you start to benefit. But those people thinking, me, I'm not ready to take their my money. But what I have learned, to build a network is a good thing.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Anyone else?
It's me, Ivan. I think I'm going to try to find out how to let some causes of expenditure go. And I'm sure I'm going to be accountable on me myself. And something I've learned.
You cannot be accountable to yourself.
Let me bring it out like this.
Okay.
There is something I've learned. If I find someone who is successful in what I'm looking for,
You follow them.
I'm going to follow so that I can see how I can go through the process.
What are you passionate about?
Really, I'm a farmer.
So which person do you see who is doing what you would want to do in Uganda?
The person
Or a company that is doing what you look at them and really admire them. Like, I wish, even me, there are people I admire. Dr. James Magara. You know, there are people you look at and like, I want to do what that man is doing. Apostle Moses Mukisa.
There is this man who is called Matia Kasaija. This man, yes, the minister. He took us to his farms and he showed us what he's doing for many years. But for us, we know he's a man of books, counting money. But he's a man on the ground, farming, a real farmer. I admired him. He has urban farming, he has all kinds of farming. And another man is the Kagodo farmers. The company, that company itself, I admire it. So now the struggle is
How to find them.
How to find them in touch with me. Thank you.
Yeah, and there's a way, thank you for sharing that. And there's a way God connects you to people that you had. So that's why things amazing. There was when Pastor Enoch Adeboye came to Uganda, because we had followed him many years, especially me, like online. You know, we met him. Somehow God made sure that I don't know how it happened. There's a guy I was working with, then it turns out he was organizing so someone else told me, no, Brian is actually organizing the man's, he's arranging he's in charge of the itinerary. You talk to him. So I talked to Brian, he said, no, you want to meet him? I can. So we met him. So somehow God, I don't know how he honors those things. I can't explain it. If you really want something and you pray about it and you pursue it, sooner or later it is going to come to pass. So Kagodo and the minister might seem like they are far, you guys are in different worlds, but if it's something you really want and you pray about, you think about, you actively seek out where they're going to be, sooner or later you're going to meet, and maybe there are people that they will encourage you to go to do what they are doing. I wanted to just add that you cannot be accountable to yourself. You need to be accountable to someone else. It's okay, you can, but it takes a lot of integrity and what? Grit and being deliberate. Because in most cases, you need someone you take to them your plans, not like the things you want to do. Like, this is what I'm going to do. Then they look at it. Then you tell them, hold me accountable next year or in 6 months, or whatever time you guys are. You can have an accountability partner. If you're married, it's good. It's better that accountability partner is your spouse or your wife or husband, so that you hold each other accountable. If not, if you have a friend, then you tell them, this is what, please hold me accountable. You also hold them accountable on what they've set out to do. You set some goals, and we've seen how you can set them. You first find out your purpose and what you want to do. If there are products you want to start, businesses you want to start, you have some targets. Then you should take them to this person that otherwise you will leave it here. It won't work. It will make you feel good here. Then 2 days down the road, like, there are some things we had the other day. Yeah, so you need to find accountability partners or people who, and this should be hard people, not people who are, who are nice. They'll let you off the hook. So I was supposed to stop at 11. If there is any question, please, I can take it, and then we end. Here's one more question.
Now, my question is, I'm sorry to give you a lot. My question is, what if I'm passionate to the business I've told you? Me, I've heard many people saying, you don't need money to start to work. But in our camper of day-to-day, you can be your idea, very good ideas. And you're passionate to see them working. How do you think I can do these things? How I can start the other sources like the income to consume my expenditure when already my income is low? But I feel I want to start another one to add on the one I've been running. How can I do that?
Your question is hard. That's a good one. Because I've also struggled with that, and people will tell you things you don't need, but they're business people here. She has told you. It is not easy as people say, that you don't need money to start. Sometimes people will say that they've never done any business. For me, I tried, and I failed badly, or twice. So the good thing is that you guys have a very good businesswoman who is going to talk to you in the afternoon, Mrs. Margaret Chambard. She's someone who has done business. She has an amazing story. Actually, I wrote about it in my book. I saw Jeremiah has the book. I went and sat down with her, and she told me her story. So she's someone who will tell you practical things, not things from theory. In fact, the reason I wrote that book is that people have a lot of theory. They'll tell you many things, but until you've done something yourself, you don't even have the moral authority to tell people about, some of the things you're telling them. So in that book, I sought out people who have made it. Peter Sematimba, Margaret Chamba, the other business people. I've forgotten who else was in it. Some businessmen in Kampala, Vincent Kagambo, Andrew Lusiba, people who have built something. So you speak to them, and then they will tell you. They'll tell you what they can tell you. Some things they can't tell you. So, but what I know is that for everything to work, you must have passion. And that's the first step. You must have passion for something. In fact, the reason why for me, I realize I don't have to struggle a lot in doing businesses that I don't know about. People tell you start a business. Me, I love land. I love land. It is my passion. And that's my heart is settled that I will just become wealthy by buying land. That's what I'll do. I can deal in land. I'm also a lawyer. I can do the lawyer, provide the legal services. But even as I do them, I love land. I just love it, and everything to do with real estate. So I can do businesses in that area because it is first of all, it is something I'm passionate about, and then it is something I am knowledgeable about. Then also there is a plan. I have a plan of how to amass it or to get, groups. Like I've told you, those groups, you invest with people, so it is, for me, I think that would be my answer, to just find that passion, the thing you're passionate about, and then pursue it. But like I said, Mrs. Margaret Chambard is going to be here. She will tell you practical things about businesses, so that you don't hear a lot of theory. Yes. So, any more questions? Nothing? Maybe to thank you for listening. Thank you for the questions, for the participation and all. Thank you. I encourage you, please be deliberate about these things. Nothing comes easy. Be deliberate about especially finding your purpose. Read a book if you want. Even me, I'm telling you this, but yesterday, while researching for this There's a book I have it in trade of, Sunday at Elijah. So I went and got the book and printed it, because these books are online. It is called Who Am I? Why am I here? You know, those are very fundamental questions. You remember when I introduced myself, I called myself a child of God, because that has to be settled, that I'm a child of God, or I'm this. Then, not having settled that, why am I here? What am I meant to do? So until you find that, you're going to be wasting a lot of time. So thank you. I hope you guys will take these things seriously, so that when we meet next year, there are some, you can tell us success stories. We can hear your stories of what you've done, or the music and other things. So thank you very much. God bless.